contributor to that, and US Air Force Special Operations Command has an example of the Boeing CV-22B Osprey tilt rotor in the static park. Here's one coming in for its flying display. And if I'm not very much mistaken, even a little bit of condensation over the Osprey's upper surfaces there as it cooled up.
I think also, if you look very carefully, you may be able to see some vortices coming off of the rotors themselves.
Very definitely indeed. This is a machine that is well known for generating some interesting atmospheric effects. This is neither a fixed-wing aircraft nor a helicopter. It is a tilt rotor, and that we'll see demonstrated over the course of a spirited roll demonstration by this airplane, which comes to us from the 7th Special Operations Squadron of the US Air Force, part of the 352nd Special Operations Wing, based at RAF Mildenhall in Suffolk. That's where it's flown in from today, and that's where it'll be departing to at the end of its slot. The idea is to combine something of the flexibility of the helicopter, particularly in terms of operating into confined spaces, with the higher speeds and longer range of a fixed-wing aircraft. And here we see the transition from aeroplane to helicopter mode, as it were, commencing. Those big engine pods, which were in the horizontal position, now moving to about an 80-degree angle, and this will allow the Osprey to perform a very short rolling landing. Those engines, a pair of Rolls-Royce Allison A1107C turboshafts of over 6,200 shaft horsepower each. This is a type that's currently in service with both the United States Marine Corps and, as here, the US Air Force. The Marine Corps that brought it into operational service first in 2005. In January 2007 that the US Air Force Special Operations Command did likewise with the version we see here, the CV-22B. This was an aircraft that first flew on the 19th of March 1989. The Osprey is able to transport 24 combat troops, some 20,000 pounds of internal cargo, or externally slung loads of up to 50,000 pounds. A very, very short tactical takeoff there. Finally something out. The Osprey program, as I said, a joint venture between Bell and Boeing. Boeing builds the fuselage and all the subsystems, digital avionics and the fly-by-wire control systems. Bell provides the wing, transmissions, the empennage, the rotor systems and the engine installation. In US Air Force service, the CV-22B that we see here performs long-range missions in support of US Special Operations Command forces. It infiltrates those forces into combat zones, it resupplies them while they're on the ground, and it exfiltrates them at the end of the operation. The aircraft has a normal combat radius of about 500 nautical miles with a single internal auxiliary fuel tank fitted up, but they're also able to air-to-air refuel from MC-130 Hercules tankers to give a range of more than 2,000 nautical miles and up to 5 hours of endurance, and we can see the new MC-130J version of that type in the static park as well. In now for another fast pass. The main differences between this and the MV-22B operated by the US Marine Corps are that it has more fuel capacity and it has 4 crew instead of 3 on board one of the Air Force examples for a typical mission with 2 pilots and 2 flight engineers, and it's also got a terrain-following radar to assist in operations in the low-level environment that can be so important. The 352nd Special Operations Wing at Mildenhall took on its first Ospreys in June 2013, and it's resurrected the 352nd's vertical lift capabilities that it had lost in 2007 with the retirement of its long-serving Sikorsky MH-53 Pave-Low helicopters. And this is a very versatile aircraft for the special ops role. The tilt rotor configuration gives it a wide pitch range, better high altitude capabilities than a helicopter. For a bit of the manoeuvring down towards the right. It will be coming after this up to crowd centre. You can see the rear ramp is open. On that ramp can be mounted a .50 machine gun. On this aircraft will also be fitted the hoist and the fast roping equipment that are so important for special ops duties. Deployed by those methods or they will jump off the rear ramp. Now up to the crowd centre for further bit of canoeing.
With that dark background there, you could just about see the vortices coming off of the rotors. I was last in Afghanistan in 2012. I was there for 12 months and based out of Kabul. And we used to do a regular run to one of the forward operating bases, and it was generally 2 hours by Chinook. One day an Osprey turned up and we were there in 40 minutes, so quite a force multiplier.
These have performed a lot of missions in Afghanistan with both the Marine Corps and US Air Force. The first combat deployment was actually to Iraq in September 2007. And the first Afghanistan deployment began in 2009 with the Marine Corps. Just a month after the Ospreys arrived in theatre, they made their inaugural combat mission when Marines and troops were inserted into a hostile zone in Helmand province. And this is a type that's very versatile indeed. The US Marine Corps Presidential Transport Squadron uses Ospreys to carry support personnel and members of the press corps, and the US Navy is buying 44 Ospreys to replace the aging Grumman C-2 Greyhound in the COD, or Carrier Onboard Delivery role, resupplying the US Navy's aircraft carriers, and further developments are being studied. The manufacturer is looking at a gunship version. It's tested rocket and missile armament. And a new communications suite will turn the Marine Corps Ospreys into a communications gateway, collecting data from different sources and disseminating it to other platforms. The first export customer for the type is the Japanese Ground Self-Defense Force, which at about this time last year did a deal to get 5 B-22s for delivery by June 2018, and follow-on export orders are a definite possibility. Well, a very spirited performance there by call sign 971, the Boeing CV-22B